Hello everybody and welcome back to Robert's Reviews. Today is Friday, so I'm doing another request. If you guys want a request, you can submit it in the comments below, and I will add it to my extremely long list. I will tell you, if you do submit something right now, it will not be on the channel for at least, like, 7 months. I have the entire rest of the year already planned out on my little calendar here, which is my own little personal Robert's Reviews calendar. Hey, let me see if I can find the thing. And my own little Robert's Reviews calendar, pretty dope. So unfortunately, I will not be able to add it this year probably, but I will put it onto this Google Doc that I have, and then I'll just add it to next year, and it'll be great. So if you do want me to watch something and review it, put it in the comments below. Thank you. But today, the request we had was Pride and Prejudice. Pride and Prejudice was released in 2005, and it was written by Deborah Magach and directed by Joe Wright. So this is a book. It's based on a book. No, first of all, no spoilers, of course. But it's based on a book that I have not read, admittedly, and I probably won't read it. If I'm being completely, totally honest with you, I do read. I read a lot. Like I'm in the middle of, well, I'm in the beginning of Concrete Rose right now. I'm actually really enjoying it so far. But I do read. I don't want you to think I'm not going to read because I don't like to read. I do love reading, and I do have book videos. If you guys want to check that out, it's on the channel. Subscribe. I'm not interested in romance novels. I'm just not. And so I kind of went into this very blank, right? I've never seen it, never really talked about it with anybody, so it's my first time like really experiencing it, which is interesting because it's a very popular piece of media, not just the film but the book as well, and it's supposed to be this huge like media thing that everyone knows and everyone's like, you know, seen it at least or read it, and I have not, so this is the first time I did. And I mean, I'm always just blanket thoughts here. I'm always entranced by Keira Knightley. I think she's wonderful. She's a wonderful actress. I'm really happy I saw her in this and in Anna Karenina last week, I think it was. And I really enjoyed it, and I really think that she's really good. And I think that she generally can make any movie good. Like, she was in a movie with Steve Carell. I think it was Seeking a Friend with the End of the World. And, like, she was really good. And I think she really made that movie. And I think that she makes this movie, too. Because this movie, at its core, is very dry. There's not a lot that happens, okay? But the general idea is that these very rich people come into town. It's like the 1700s, I think. Like 17 something, whatever, it doesn't matter. Well, it does matter, but like I don't really know. And the general thought process is that the women of this poor family are going to marry the rich people so that they have better lives and can raise rich children and all that kind of thing. And the main character here, Elizabeth Bennet, is the, you know, least interested in getting married. And then she runs into this guy named Mr. Darcy. And Mr. Darcy is this weird enigma that, like, she's never really run into before. She's never been interested in guys until she met Mr. Darcy. And she's like, wait, that guy's kind of cool. But he's also, like, low-key kind of a jerk to a lot of people, particularly that she cares about. And so the balance here is that she kind of likes him, but doesn't want to admit it, and doesn't want to marry him, of course, because he's really mean. But they eventually, you know, they talk about it, and they figure out, oh, maybe he isn't so mean. And then all of a sudden, it's just like, boom, I'm in love. And, like, I get it. Because the idea is also, like, the Pride and the Prejudice part is that, you know, the pride is you know, he's rich, and, like, you know, he's got pride and shit, you know, whatever. Pardon my French. But the prejudice here is that she's poor, right? And the entire family is poor. So it's hard for him to want to be with her because it is not written that they would do so, right? Because, you know, rich white people don't get with poor white women. It's just not how it works back then. And I think that that's annoying, for one, because that's not really how it is now. At least I don't think so. But I also am a white male, so like maybe that's my privilege showing through. And I do apologize if that's the case. But, like, I don't care about the economic status of whoever it is I date. And I hope that the people that I date also don't care. Not that it matters right now because I'm not seeing anybody, but still. Regardless, it is, I think it's a little interesting that we have to watch that from this point of view of, like, does it really matter right now? And I think to a certain extent it does. I mean, we have income inequality, of course. We have a lot of other, like, issues in terms of, you know, the economic status of women in general that I think should be fixed. But in terms of this movie, which is set in an older time, we understand that is a really big problem. And I think that they could have went into that a little bit more. There's just one monologue that Mr. Darcy says that actually mentions the fact that she's poor. Beyond that, you know that she's poor, and you're just kind of told to infer that that's the reason that he doesn't want to be with her. But, like, it's hard to consider that when we don't typically consider that now, or at least I don't. And overall, I think that the movie is a little overly dramatic in terms of its characters and how they are relating and all that stuff. And I think that it is kind of long. It's like, I think it was like 2 hours and 10 minutes. And I think it is a little long for what it really is, which is just a basic, like, love movie, romance movie. And while I think it is a good movie and it does have some redeeming qualities of it, it isn't very interesting. Like, I liked Keira Knightley's character. Mr. Darcy was okay. Beyond that, I could not care. I could not care less. I'm like, listen, I'm just here to see what happens at the end. And, like, the beginning half of this movie is so slow. Like, almost literally nothing happens. Even the tensions between Elizabeth and Mr. Darcy here aren't increasing enough for me. I think that they need to be building that, like, almost passionate tension way faster. Because watching this movie, you realize that a lot of movies these days are a lot quicker in, like, the fall in love kind of thing. Like, if you look at Crazy Stupid Love, I mean, it ramps, right? It's like, woof. This one's like, boop, and it's like, I didn't really enjoy that. Let's talk about a couple of the actors here, starting with Keira Knightley as Elizabeth Bennet. I really like Keira Knightley. I think she's a wonderful actress, and I think that she really did help make this movie interesting. She's just got this emotional range that is, like, really incredible and truly amazing, and I really do appreciate all of her work. And I think she's good in this movie. I don't think that she's bad. I don't necessarily think that it's necessarily worth watching just because of her, but that's okay. I think in general, like, at least back in, like, a while ago, like 2005 era, they used Keira Knightley to sell movie tickets because she is outwardly beautiful. And that's fine, I get it, I do understand. But I don't know if that necessarily makes her right for the part? This is difficult. But, like, I think that she was right for the part, but I don't think that's why she was casted. And the director, Joe Wright, does cast her in a lot of his movies, which is fine, but, like, you know, it's like the same thing with Scorsese and DiCaprio. But I did like her here, and I think that she did work really well in it. And we have Matthew Macfadyen as Mr. Darcy. I mean, it's hard to judge the acting here because his character is so dull. Like, the whole point of his character is that he's a mysterious person who doesn't really talk at all. And, while I understand the mystery behind it, I can understand why it might be, you know, building some kind of tension, it really was kind of boring, and it really didn't help us like Mr. Darcy, which we're kind of supposed to like Mr. Darcy, at least towards the end, and, like, for the most part, you don't. And then towards the end, when we do begin liking him, it feels more like a character change than anything else, even though it's not a character change. It feels like it's a character change, and I'm not really a big fan of that because it was random and not, like, it doesn't make any sense. It doesn't. I'm sorry, it just doesn't. And I think that Macfadyen here is fine, but also maybe could have worked a little harder here on this one, and maybe pushed his emotions outward a little bit more. Overall, I think this movie is an interesting watch. It is a movie that I think that everyone should watch once. That doesn't make it a good movie, doesn't make it a bad movie. It just kind of is what it is, which is solidly mediocre. And, I mean, it was fine. The story is kind of bland, but I think a lot of people will like this movie. And I'm going to go ahead and give Pride and Prejudice a B+. If you guys like this, please consider subscribing. It's a huge help. Once we get to 150, I'm going to be dressing up like Spider-Man and going to Walmart. And I know you guys want to see that, so subscribe. Hit the subscribe button. Like the video. Share the video with your friends if you're interested. And thank you guys so much for watching. And as always, keep watching movies and television. Stay educated, and I'll see you guys in the next video.